What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the most woke, most broke YouTube channel on the planet, Undercover Series. I am your host, Goober Studes, and on today's episode, I'm at Mather Point, Grand Canyon on the edge, right here, as you can see. And today, I'm going to talk about how I went all in on my dreams for 6 months and failed. So, by the end of this video, I'm going to break down all the 5 concepts of why I failed and how the past 6 months have led me to this point right here on the edge of this canyon. And no, I'm not planning on jumping off. This is just how a nice little context of living on the edge. And I thought this was a perfect point to describe that. So, first of all, a little backstory. 6 months ago, I decided to go all in on this new business venture idea that I had. I had saved enough money to leave the comfort of my sponsors and go out about in the world on my own, okay, without any idea of how I'm going to make it in order to make my dreams real. Now, this is something I had done previously, and everyone had discouraged me from doing this, which is funny because when people discourage you from when you've already made the decision to follow your dreams, everything everyone else tells you is nothing you haven't thought about yourself. Like, hey, you're going to run out of money. This isn't realistic. I don't think you understand how hard it is what you're trying to do. And it's funny that they think that that's something new because that is my default thinking. My default is not to do this. Your brain's default is not to do this. So anything they say is something you've already thought about and decided you're going to move against, like taking your consciousness and saying, no, I'm still going to do this. So anything they say, it kind of makes you immune because they're just repeating that default of what's already in your head. So it's never going to work. So just a little context that when you make that decision to go all in, there's nothing anyone can tell you that you haven't told yourself already. And you get horse blinders on and you move in your own lane. So 6 months ago, I saved enough cash to go all in on something I believed with enough cash that would last me for 6 months. I did the math. Today is November 12th. I left on May 15th, so in 2 days it'll be 6 months. I am at Arizona Grand Canyon. In an hour, going to be driving back to Los Angeles and making my way back to San Jose, where I started. So it's been a crazy 6 months, and I've come down where I've got $300 left. Nothing worked out, and I'm going to talk about how I failed and the lessons that led to this point. Okay, so before I describe the main concepts, what I'd like to iterate is I fully believe in going all in. I don't regret anything that I did. And I'm 100% in favor of going all in because the beauty of doing this is so magnificent and so enlivening that sure, the failure hurts, but the process in itself is priceless in itself and makes life worth living. So without further ado, here's the first reason why I failed. Number one is I did the spray and pray tactic, which is I cut off my sponsors, not cut them off, I just left, right? And I had so many ideas I wanted to execute on, while I had a clear goal that I was going to go all in on the AI business, because I was like, hey, you have to go and learn as much as you can about this AI thing, because it's clear it's going to take over the world. And I don't want to miss this trend that I can obviously see and where it's going, and I want to be one of the first adopters. So that was initially the primary goal. At the same time, I had a lot of other things going for me that I did not want to let go of. I had this beautiful shampoo product I was in love with. I had existing customers, and it was making sales, so I didn't want to let go of that. That was prior to me. So I was like, I'm going to keep doing the shampoo thing while going after this new AI venture. Number two, no, sorry, the other thing I was focused on was making videos, because I didn't want to just hustle and grind and not archive things, because I love archiving video content and shooting good videos in places like this and building an archive. So I knew, look, even though it's not good to spray your energy in so many places, if I'm going to hustle and work on something, I want to make videos during that process so that I have an archive, and it's almost like this flywheel feeding into itself. Okay? So that I was spending energy making videos like this. That was the second thing I was spending energy on. The third was I had an agency service that was making me like, $300 a month. I know that sounds terrible, but it's hard to give you the full context. It used to be 1,000. Then I hired people to delegate, and I just wanted 300. It was my leftover from all expenses, and I kept doing that thing because it was something that was already existing. I didn't want to cut it out, and it was paying for all my flight tickets and stuff like that. So I also wanted to do consultation services and make money online. So I had my energy sprayed in a lot of places, and I was taking action all these 4 places, knowing full well that that's not the best way to go about things. But my whole life I've been doing things irrationally, and it's paid off. Okay, like I am where I am because of these principles. But in this 6-month context, it did not work. Okay, in retrospect, I should have just focused on the AI thing, and I did spend 80% of my energy on the AI thing. But when you think about health, exercise, going to nature, doing all these other businesses, that sprayed the attention, and I could have had more just focused on AI and my health, AI, and videos. That was something I couldn't let go of. The second reason why I failed, so the first one was spray and pray, and just and hoping that one of them will stick. Okay, the second one was not having enough oxygen. And what I mean by that was I made the mistake every startup does, which is focusing hard on making a good product, but not having money coming in, and which is most startups run out of money and they fail. Again, this is something I knew. I knew I was not doing things in my favor. We were focusing on building a really nice product, and we gave ourselves those 6 months to build it. Actually, we gave ourselves 2 months, but it took way longer. And we neglected the oxygen part, which is the money part, because had I been generating oxygen in whatever means, I would still probably be able to work on it right now. And this is a mistake every startup does. They get too caught up in the product. They don't focus on making sales. In this case, we did have a customer product fit where there was someone ready to pay for something we were going to build. So it made sense to kind of like just go and build it versus focusing on generating customers or money with low-hanging fruit. So, you could say that this was an exception to that rule. However, we didn't execute it as we could have. And that was just a plain principle right there. It was just like, you should generate money, right? And we didn't, and I didn't for myself as well. Because if I had more money coming in, I could still just keep doing what I want versus being where I am right now with $300. And I had kept this in mind that, hey, I should generate some money. But I wanted, again, this whole idea of all in. And I was just obsessed with just working on this. I just wanted to do what I wanted to do. And as a result, it came to the point where now I have no money and I'm struggling to generate money because it takes time in the situation that I'm in. So that was the second reason for failure, was no oxygen, right? There's no oxygen, everything's going to fail. Number 3 is no stop losses, okay? This comes back to the idea of all in, and having a stop loss makes sense. And I knew, again, all of these things I already knew, but I went against them because every time I've been in things against my favor, I just did what felt right, and it always worked out. In this scenario, it didn't. In this 6 months scenario, it didn't work out, which was me going on all in on this product, this AI product we're trying to build. There came a point where should have put a stop loss, and I did mentally put a actual stop loss of, if we reach this point without a single sale, then I should start making money elsewhere and put the product on pause until I can generate enough cash flow. But even when I got to that mental point of that stop loss, instead of listening to it, I doubled, tripled down on focusing on the product even more, because like now I have to make this work. And this comes from my experience as being a kamikaze trader. If you've traded stocks or crypto, a kamikaze trader is someone who goes all in on a trade, and then when that trade starts losing, instead of pulling back or hitting their stop loss, they dump more money in. They keep averaging in. Money drops, keep averaging in. It's like, no, it's going to go up. It's going to go up. And usually kamikaze traders, when they blow up. So I've done this previously, but it's worked out for me very well. And in this situation, it didn't. Okay, having stop losses is very important. You don't want to just gamble like that. But in my situation, I went kamikaze, and it's paid off very, very well. But in this scenario, it didn't. Should have listened to the stop loss, had a clear stop loss, and then pulled back, gained a little altitude in my situation, and then reassess and hit it from another strategic point. So what I like to do is I just throw thousands of punches at a wall until it breaks. And let's say if I'm noticing no cracks, then I punch harder and harder, right? That's the kamikaze thing. But if instead I would have reassessed, maybe switched my angle a little bit and hit it from a different direction, instead of doing the same thing over and over and over, like a madman, maybe, do the same thing but from a different angle, that would have been a smarter approach. But like I said, I was just following the same principles that got me here. In this situation, it did not work. Number 4, okay, the 4th reason why I failed, and that's intention. So going about this back to the beginning when I told you I was praying and praying, the intention at the back of my mind was truly to drive the country and see places like this, which is why I have seen almost all these places successfully and had an amazing nature adventure. But in the back of my mind, while I wanted these surface things like making the business work and the AI product and kind of living on my own terms past these 6 months, okay, my deadline was, I was fully confident that by the end of the 6 months, I'd be in a way better place compared to where I'm at right now financially. At the back of my mind, I knew that this was where the pure intent was, like this, stuff like this, and driving the country, which is exactly what I was able to do. And I tried to fight that with, every time I was starting to rethink what I was doing, I would hypnotize myself and like just go take a lot of action that I'm just reignited and then fully bought into the idea, I'm going to become so rich with this product. Like, no, this is going to work. This is going to work. I fully believe this is going to work. At the back of my mind, the real vision, and maybe, look, this is the part where it gets a little unpractical and a little abstract and is more self-aware and subjective, but maybe a part of you resonates with this, where there's this floating vision at the back of your mind and your heart that is the real thing, that you're almost like manifesting, and you try and go against that by taking action and be like, no, that's not real, and you take action to make a different objective happen, versus just getting in tuned and being honest with yourself of what you really want, knowing what you want. And what I wanted was this. Yes, a part of my mind wanted the AI to work. But what I truly wanted was this, which is why this is what happened. And the AI thing didn't. But again, this is the part that's a little wacky and can't really give to you in practical terms. But there are moments in your life where you're going to have these weird, wishy-washy things in your mind of what you truly want, but you couldn't bring it out into your focus. And as a result, those things still happen regardless of, it's almost like you're subconsciously taking action to make those subconscious things happen. So, which is why it's important to know what you really want, because, or knowing how to reprogram yourself to what you really want, because sometimes what you want is not even what you want. It's been socially conditioned, or some other factors that make you think this is what you want, which explains why some people always have bad misfortune, is because what they really want to happen is they want to lose. Okay? In my case, I wanted this to happen more than the AI business, even though rationally, and sometimes there came moments where I really did want, and I still want it to work. But when I really, really dig deep, what the fibers of my mind wanted this, which is why this succeeded. Again, that's the self-aware part, and that's something I'm going to have to trial and error with this model of thinking to see if it's true. And lastly, number 5, the reason for failing was not taking enough action. Now, even though I truly applied myself, okay, and I worked really, really hard, there were moments where I squandered my time. I think I squandered maybe 30, let's just be more conservative, say 50 hours in the past 6 months that were just like squandering, like doing stupid stuff, watching shows and watching or playing a game or something and justifying that I needed a break and something like that. And maybe I did, I don't know. But looking back at it, I wish I could have taken those 50 hours back and just applied it into more blitzing and action taking, because that's where the real moments came. What I regret the most is not failure, but wasting time. Time wasting is just the worst thing ever, okay? And that's just me being honest with myself, because I think I did work the hardest that I could. I think I worked as hard as I could with the resources available to me. But there's always a part of me that feels like I could have done more. And that's like the architect of me. You know, architects, they spend months, if not years, working on a single design. And then when they finally build it, they see what they could have done better. That's why they say a joke, architects are never satisfied with their end product, with the buildings they make, because they realize the mistakes once the building is made. So at that time, I felt like I was working my hardest. But now that I'm sitting here in these mountains, I feel like there was more gas in the tank that I could have done. And yeah, I think maybe the outcome could have been different if I had truly worked hard. And I thought that having the urgency of ending up homeless and running out of money was enough of an urgency factor to make me not squander time. Like, you think that when you're about to end up on the streets, that you wouldn't even consider watching a TV show or playing a game. Like, how could you even consider that? But time and time again, I've been in multiple situations like this in the past, and I've succeeded. I've learned that running out of money is not a strong enough urgency for me for it to be a life or death situation where you will not spend a single hour doing anything else. Because it turns out to me that health and wellness is my biggest fear. When I thought, hey, you could end up on the streets in 2 weeks, my main concern wasn't where I was going to sleep or what's going to happen. I was only concerned about losing my computer or my phone, because at least if I have those and an internet connection, the world is mine. And becoming sick or mentally ill. Those were my 2 biggest fears. It's not ending up homeless, not starving. It's not where I'm going to sleep, where I'm going to shit. It's, is my health going to be okay? Is my mind going to be okay? And losing my tools, which is my phone or my computer. So, had I made a clear map from the beginning, and I mean visceral, written down in columns and looked at it every day of what happens if I get this, what happens if I don't, okay, and mapped that clearly, then maybe my urgency would have been stronger versus just looking at my bank account. Oh, I'm running out of money. And then playing a game of Dota, you know? And even in those moments, I couldn't even fully enjoy those moments because I was like, why am I doing this? Am I self sabotaging? Why am I doing this? Why am I playing games when I know what I should be doing? And thinking, look, I need a break. Like, I couldn't even enjoy it because I was like battling myself in those moments. And what was scary was there was a part of me watching this happen and still letting it happen, asking myself, like, why am I doing this? Like, I'm going to end up in a bad situation by spending hours here versus doing the actions that will give me the higher odds of getting what I want. And then a part of me was unconsciously doing the thing I was doing, and then there's like three parts of my mind working at the same time. So knowing things mentally sometimes is not enough. I think you need to viscerally have a visual map. Kind of like in marketing, people say they know their client avatar in their mind, but I want to ask them, have you actually created a document? Do you have it, an accessible file you can open right now and see all the points? Most of them say no. They think it's just not that important. Like, does your avatar have a picture? Does he have a name? Do you know what your audience's name is? Most of them say no. And I was guilty of this too. And the moment I made that client avatar real and mapped out everything in a document and updated it, that's when my marketing got really good. So had I done that with this situation, mapping things out, what happens if I get it? What happens if I don't? What am I willing to sacrifice? What am I willing not to sacrifice? And looked at it every day and updated it every day. Maybe that sense of urgency would have been stronger and good enough that I'd have a different result. Those were the 5 reasons: spray and pray, running out of oxygen, no stop losses, intention, and urgency, or working hard enough. Those were the 5 reasons why I had failed. Now, to leave this on a positive note, I think everyone should go all in on whatever they believe. Just have a clear map on, just don't do what I did. And I only did what I did because I've been in those situations and it's worked out. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done things the way that I did. But I guess for whatever reason that I'm still trying to internalize is why it didn't work out in this situation. I guess that just means that the way I've been living is not a law of life. Because, or you know what? I take that back. It could be a law. I don't know. Maybe it isn't. But just because you do something perfect doesn't guarantee a result, right? You could do something entirely perfect and it just doesn't work for some random fluke of the universe. So that could just be what happened. And because this has happened to me so many times where I've been in these situations, like maybe 3 or 4 pivotal moments in my life, and I made it work for myself regardless of those odds, which is why this time I was like, you know what? This is going to be the biggest adventure ever. And I'm going to, oh, there's a squirrel trying to, don't take my coffee. You're wildlife. Stay away. Yeah, you're not supposed to let wildlife get accustomed to stuff like this, even though that was a really cute moment. Look at this guy. Goddamn squirrel. Anyways, yeah. So all you're entitled to is the act of taking action itself. You're not entitled to the fruit of your labor. So be very careful about the actions you take. And this is not meant to discourage anyone from following your dreams. I would say go ahead and do it. Had I known the result, I would still do it, believe it or not. Because look where I am. I mean, come on. Like, I had an amazing 6 months and it's not even over. The journey is just beginning. And Mr. Squirrel here agrees. I took away his coffee and he's still here sniffing my clothes. The guy's not even afraid of me. I don't even know this guy. He's a squirrel. So go all in. Know what you want. Focus on one thing. And have a clear map of everything. Have good urgency. Don't lose oxygen. And you just might make it. But again, what I really want to iterate to you is I do not regret these failures. What I regret is wasting time. Because if I died today, and this would be a really nice place to die, Grand Canyon, I would only regret the times I squandered time. Because everything else is knowledge, it's experience, it's wisdom. And you're already all in on life. You only have one life, so you're by default all in. So thanks for tuning in to Goobers Dudes. This is the undercover billionaire's journey. I will become a billionaire, monetarily or not. And I hope you found this valuable. And I can't wait to share with you the journey that lies ahead, because I know it's going to be a wild one. I'm running out of money. I am more alive than ever. And this is as real as I can give it to you without showing you me taking a shit in the bathroom. Okay? So I hope I did justice in showing you this journey. And we're going all in for forever. So this is going to be an amazing experience. I love making stuff like this. I wish you the best. Shoot me a DM if you have any questions, and get yourself some shampoo bars, man. That shit is amazing. Peace. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. It's just me over here with Mr. Contemplative Squirrel. Right there. Look at this guy. Contemplating life together on the Grand Canyon. Love you, Mr. Squirrel. This one's for you.